fight's not over.
Stop the fight!
People.
Everybody, I come here for everybody. Kill everybody. I'm the champ. I'm the king. Kill everybody. Ah!
All right, welcome back to Broke Bets for UFC 275. What's up, dude?
How we doing, my man?
My man, we're doing great, my man.
We had a tough card last week, but we'll bounce back.
Yeah, the picks weren't horrible, but we'll bounce back this week. I say there's some tough calls, but yeah, we can just dive into it, right?
For sure.
For sure. For our next fight, we have Joselyne Edwards versus Ramona Pascual. Carson, who do you like here?
I will be taking Edwards in this. I just think she's better striking and probably win the point fight and get a decision victory.
Yeah, I mean, I see kind of a complicated fight to read. Definitely, I think she will be the better striker as well. In terms of experience, I guess she has more professional fights, but she's not quite as old. But her obvious weakness is her ground game. But you have to think with a fighter who struggles with getting taken down at a young age, they're going to work on that and they're going to grow from that. So that's a good sign. For Ramona Pascual, she's a big girl. She just fought Estela Nunes a while ago. She didn't have a bad fight for how good that girl is. And she's got, I hate to say it, but she's got like mom hips, you know what I'm saying? She's thick. And if she gets on the ground with Edwards, she will lay on her for the rest of the fight possibly, and it could just end that way. So you wouldn't bet this one, right?
No. If I was betting, I'd bet the over for those two decisions.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. I think Edwards just will cruise to a decision here. Pascual was pretty tough in her last fight. But yeah, the biggest concern is if she just gets laid on. I think the odds should be a little bit tighter than this, but we're just going to stick with Edwards here. Yeah. And yeah. Oh, shit. Alright, for our next fight, we have Silvana Gomez Juarez versus Liang. I think we're both edging the Chinese girl, correct?
Liang, yes.
Yeah.
I have in this. I see Silva Gomez, or however you say her name. She's lost twice to an armbar, and Liang has gotten a few armbar submissions.
She's a jiu-jitsu girl.
Yeah, I like that path to victory there.
And this is just like the last fight. I mean, you can just write the same fucking story for this one. It's if Liang gets Gomez to the ground, it's probably over. And if it stays on the feet, Juarez wins this one, so we're just taking the other way, I guess. We're going that Juarez can, or that Liang will get her to the ground. Something you'll notice from Liang's fights is she's like a full-pace fighter. It's like first round, she'll just fucking put the gas on. And she likes to just go for that finish right away. And she's getting older, so she's kind of going to grow into her own. Whereas with Gomez, you're not going to get like your wrestling game going when you're 37. You know, that's kind of something you develop when you're younger. Kind of unlikely she's going to learn to grapple very well. She is a good striker, though. She dropped Vanessa Denopoulos in that one fight before she got submitted. Liang's got okay striking, but if I were to bet on this, I'd just bet I'd bet this not to go the distance, to be honest. I don't know if you see that at all.
Yeah, I see that.
I just think if Liang's going to bring the pace,
together, but
if she's going to bring the pace, and she might tire out after round one, Juarez might jump in and take a chance on the other two rounds. So I might take that risk, but I have to see what the line looks like this week. Okay, our next fight we have is Kyung Kang. Hopefully I said that right. Versus Batgerel Danaa. The Mongolian. you know who you like here, bud?
Yeah, I like Danaa on this one. Probably by knockout first round.
You think he's just gonna come out and put that pace on?
Yeah. I mean, that's normally how he gets his victories, but Kang has never been knocked out, so that does kind of worry me. But I still think Danaa will get the finish here.
I think also Danaa has like a different level of power too, so maybe he just hasn't felt that. I mean, I can't remember all of Kang's opponents. Submission artists he faced. Not too many like knockout artists in the UFC, you know. Right. What I mean? So
yeah,
it's kind of hard to say. Kang, he is like good with his jab, and he's like good with his grappling, and that could be a concern. Is that possibly he could control the fight on the ground? I don't really see him submitting Danaa, but he does have a really good jab, and if he possibly works backwards really well in that big cage, I think that was the problem Danaa had against Chris Gutierrez in their last fight. Like,
yeah, if Danaa like had somewhat of a jab, all they threw was just hooks, constant hooks.
Yeah, and he's chasing him around the octagon the whole fight. So
right,
and it kind of depends, I guess, if he comes out with a little bit different strategy, maybe implements more techniques instead of just throwing haymakers. But I would expect him to be able to get inside on Khan. He doesn't have the best footwork. He's kind of hittable. But if he just gets past his jab, I think he can get the job done. So we'll stick with the favorite. But this is another close one. I'm not sure if I'll bet it. Okay, for our next fight, I'm excited for this one. We got Jake Matthews versus Andre Fialho. Who do you like, bud?
I will continue to ride Andre Fialho.
Yep. I think he's...
I like it. Yeah, he'll probably get a knockout first round.
I think the same, that he's just going to keep doing it. I think he's going to keep doing it too.
I believe he is the only active fighter from Portugal, if I'm not mistaken. So I think they're going to keep on pushing this guy.
I just think too, it's a confidence thing. You know, going into a fight like this for Jake Matthews too, he's gonna be kind of nervous about that. You know, this dude's on a fucking roll right now, and it could be scary walking into it. I mean, just to go over each fighter, you know, you got Jake Matthews, who is a good boxer, but kind of lacks some power in his boxing, and then on Fialho's side, you kind of have a patient boxer, doesn't throw the most volume, but when it comes with that like left hook or an uppercut or something, dude, they're heavy every shot he throws. And
he's got a decent chin too.
Yeah, Miguel Baeza shot like right through his chin, and he didn't go down. And he fought Michel Pereira, and Michel Pereira hits hard. That'd probably be a possible rematch in the future. They get lined up.
Yeah, I could see that.
And then, I mean, for Jake Matthews, I think the difference is, too, he's not as much of a finisher just from the boxing perspective. He went to a decision with Diego Sanchez, but Diego Sanchez, he did hurt him a good amount in the third round. That was also the fight where Diego Sanchez tried to do the Jorge Masvidal knee, and it missed by a mile. He got punched in the face. That was a good memory. But if there's an edge in the wrestling department, it's going to be Jake Matthews. So if you're nervous about that, you know, kind of going to see a possible takedown. But I think Fialho is pretty well-rounded. I think he's going to get the job done. So from a betting perspective, what do you see on Fialho here?
I do like the Fialho knockout prop. And as I'm looking at the total rounds, the under 2.5 is at minus 140 right now, so that does look enticing.
Yeah, that could be a good.
Get the knockout before then.
You could even prop bet together him and under 2.5, and probably get plus 150 or something. So
yeah, I like that.
But yeah, Fialho KO. Anything else for this one?
Nada.
All right, for our next one, we have Maheshate versus Steve Garcia. I'm not going to try that first name, but in this one, I think this is also a very close matchup. I don't want to say it has fight of the night potential, but it's definitely going to be one of the better fights, I feel like, on the card. I've watched Dana White's Contender Series, and I watched the fight Maheshate had on there, and the dude he fought was pretty good. The dude he fought came out guns blazing, threw all these heavy shots, and he stood in there, and then he also had the gas to go 3 rounds, which is always a good thing to see. He's 22 years old. He's really big. I think he's going to come in a lot larger than Garcia. He's bulky. He probably will have a bit of a power edge here. On Garcia's side, he has some okay striking, but, I mean, nothing super crisp. Luis Pena put him on his back for quite a few rounds, just grappling-wise, but he was all right before he's a white beater or whatever he was. And, I don't know, do you see any difference? Are you going to pick Garcia for this one, Carson?
No, I'll stick with Maheshate.
Yeah, I think Maheshate has just edge in the striking. He's me a bigger dude. And also, something people kind of forget to factor in, I have no idea if the Singapore fans are going to be going crazy. I don't know if they're that kind of culture.
I'd assume they'd be, going, at least cheering for the Chinese.
Yeah, and, it can swing a judge's scorecards. That's always something to consider if it goes all 3 rounds. I'm just going to take Maheshate by decision, but I would not be surprised to see KO here. I feel like there's going to be a lot of knockouts on this card just by us, or finishes by us going through it. So, in our next matchup, we have Seung Choi versus Joshua Culibao. Who do you got for this one?
Yeah, in this matchup, they both got really good striking, but I'll give the edge to Choi, and I like him by decision.
I like the size of Choi as well. I don't know if you see the stats, but he's 6 feet, and when you see him in the cage, he's a really big guy compared to the people he fights. Culibao is pretty scrawny guy. I mean, that's not always the worst case scenario. He is a grappler, but he might have more trouble getting the bigger guy to the ground, possibly. But Choi should be the better boxer, striker here, and Culibao's no slouch, though. I mean, he's had some decent fights. He had a draw with blanking right now.
Jourdain.
Yeah, Charles Jourdain. And he actually puts on some decent performances. He knocked down Jourdain in that fight, but I just think Choi, his length, his size, he incorporates a jab better than I think Charles Jourdain does, so I think he's just going to be able to outstrike Culibao here and take him to a decision. The KO is possibly there, but I think he does a better job of touching people up than knocking people out cold. Obviously, the ground game is the biggest scare for this one, that possibly he could just get taken down or submitted, but I just don't think physically Culibao can just dominate him like that, so I expect Choi here.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I expect him to get that decision. Anything else you see?
Nope, Choi by decision.
Probably a good method of victory just to hit on him too. For our next matchup, we have Brenda Allen versus Jacob Malkoun. I like Brendan Allen here. Just by a little bit. I think it's just the level of experience and competition that they've faced is the biggest difference. From looking at his record, you can see that he's faced. Oh man, I'm blanking again. Sean Strickland. That's a fucking good fight, And Chris Curtis is a killer.
Val Dawkins. That's another one.
even Sam Alvey's experience. Polyana Soriano's a pretty good fighter. I mean, and then on Jacob Malkoun's side, AJ Dobson was like a prospect as a striker, but again, he's not a wrestler. He got taken down the whole fight. If you like Jacob Malkoun, taken by decision, I don't think he's getting a finish any day soon.
I don't see him getting a finish in this one. Malkoun.
And Allen's, he's a jiu-jitsu
like,
guy, so...
Yeah, I probably like Allen by submission. Rear naked choke.
I would agree. I'd say submission or KO. It's got to be one of the two.
I can see ground and pound, too.
Maybe when they're dry. I mean, look at the height difference here, too. Oh, did Brendan Allen weigh in at 205 for his last fight? Oh, he did? Oh, that was short notice for Sam Alvey. That's right.
Yeah.
But 6'2 versus 5'9". A lot of those taller jiu-jitsu guys, like Oliveira's a little bit taller for lightweight, they can just wrap people up really easily. I think Allen can do that. And when they're dry, I think that he can get that rear naked choke in or, whatever it is. But,
and I don't see Malkoun's hands being a threat for a knockout in this.
And the power punchers that Brendan Allen's faced where he's gotten knocked out by, they're like real power punchers, like dudes with a lot of knockouts on their record, so doesn't really make me nervous. But for a parlay, I'll just announce early, I'm doing Allen and Choi together. I got that line early, just marking that one down. Okay, for our next fight, we have Jack Della Maddalena versus Ramazan Emeev. We're both pretty big on the prospect, Maddalena. How do you like him to get this fight done?
Yeah, I like Jack Della Maddalena in this one. We just don't know how well he would do against a wrestler, which would be my only concern here. But I still like him, and I think he'll get a knockout in this one as well.
Yeah, I think Emeev, he's got the wrestling edge, and I've only seen Maddalena get challenged with wrestling in his Contender Series fight versus Angelos, who's actually pretty good, even though he got beat in the UFC recently. I mean, Maddalena's striking is really impressive. He doesn't throw all the shots with fight-ending intention. He kind of like...
no, his jab is just insanely good.
Yeah, and he just feels range really well, pops in and out of range. And he, like, manages his power so that in round 3, if he ever goes there, he's got it still. It's kind of something like Conor doesn't really swing as hard as he can on everyone. I see that similar thing with Jack, so...
Right.
Emeev, I just think he's got the wrestling edge, but I don't think he's that great of a wrestler that he can just control Maddalena. I don't think he gets submissions either, so it just feels like all the money here should be put on Maddalena. And I've already got him for a straight bet, so... anything else for you?
I like the pick, Maddalena.
Yeah, it's pretty safe. I was also going to say, I don't think Emeev has many finishes, so, like...
No, he doesn't.
And he doesn't put a stamp on fights, all these are split decisions, they're just decisions. It's just not, it's not somebody who you want to put your money behind, I don't think. Right, for our next fight, we have Rogerio Bontorin versus Manel Kape. People are really big on Manel Kape. He got kind of a bust lately for some PED stuff, but Carson, how you feeling about this one?
Yeah, he's got the juice, and he'll get another knockout here, obviously.
Okay. What else? What do you like about him? You like his speed, or like to win this one?
Yeah, his speed and power. That's all you need.
And I guess Bontorin, he's a jiu-jitsu guy. He's really strong for the division. That's what all the people that fight him say. Brandon Royval fought him, and Bontorin's only objective is either to hold you down on the ground the whole fight or submit you. And we haven't seen Kape get challenged on the ground, but he's actually fought some really good jiu-jitsu guys like Matheus Nicolau and Alexander Pantoja. But I haven't seen Kape on the ground yet. I don't think he's going to get taken down. He's got really good footwork, probably to get away from takedowns. And if you remember in the Bontorin fight versus like even Kaikar France, he tried to hold him down for the whole first round, and as soon as Car France got up, Bontorin is taking deep breaths, he's all tired. I just think that Kape will probably unload on him in one of those first 2 rounds for a KO. Which one do you like?
Yeah, I think he wins this by KO. First or second round.
We'll do a second as a try, because he might get taken down the first. I'd be a little bit nervous for this one for a parlay, to be honest, just because Kape hasn't been tested on that round, but he's fought some decent opponents here. And yeah, we'll pick him here. Okay, and for the rematch, probably the most anticipated one, honestly, for this card, Zhang Weili versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Who do you like here?
I like Zhang Weili.
Remember me!
By decision. Yeah, I think she'll make it a dogfight and mix in the striking along with the takedowns as well.
I don't think she can. I don't think she'll take her down.
I mean, I think she'll be able to hold her by the cage and clinch.
I don't know. This is such a weird. It's so hard to say, honestly, because rematches, they seem to trend the other way. But Zhang put stamps, I thought, on rounds 1 and 2 in their first fight. And if it's a 3-round fight, I think if she's got that first 3-round cardio, she should be able to get 2 of the 3,
Yeah, and I think she's a lot more powerful than Joanna.
Yeah, and I think from a film perspective, the Joanna's team might, watch their first fight back. I rewatched the fight this morning, actually. So I thought Zhang won rounds 1, 2, and 5, and even round 4 was very close. Zhang almost stole that one in my books, but I think Joanna might change some of her strategy with, after combinations, she always try to throw a leg kick, and you're just leaving your chin exposed a lot of the time. You're pulling your hands down. She's getting caught by left hooks. She's doing a lot of 50-50 exchanges. I think there's a lot of value on Joanna for a decision bet here, just because, that's how an underdog's gonna win in this one. I don't think she's gonna put away Zhang. I don't think there's me grappling, just because Joanna's pretty lanky. She can try to get up.
I don't know where Weili's camp was for this fight.
I don't know either.
But if it was with Cejudo again, I think they would try.
She did try some trips in the first one, but they didn't, she got her down for half a second, it was one of those types of things.
Yeah.
And
I also think the crowd will be a factor cheering for Weili in this one as well.
Yeah, she get the crowd behind her.
A judge or two to take a close round for her.
I don't know, it's hard to say. I wouldn't bet Zhang just as a straight bet. I just think the odds aren't good enough to say yes to that. I don't think she's like a 2-1 favorite, or she shouldn't be, in my opinion. I think she's almost minus 200 on some of the books.
She's minus 165 on DraftKings right now.
Oh, really? Okay.
Which is really different from FanDuel's minus 184 right now.
Yeah, so, I probably won't bet her. The only thing I'd probably do is just one of them by decision. I'm thinking Joanna just for the value. But, man, it's gonna be a close fight. I mean, maybe it should have been 5 rounds in a main event somewhere. Okay, for the flyweight title fight, we have Valentina Shevchenko versus Talia Santos. We're gonna pick Shevchenko. We're not gonna trend off her yet. She's just too technical to not pick.
Yeah. I also think the level of competition Santos' recent fights will be a huge jump going up to Shevchenko. Her last 2 fights was against Joanne Wood and Roxanne.
Yeah, and is it Joanne? Was that Joanne Calderwood? Didn't she change her last name?
Yeah, she got married and changed to Wood.
It went to Calderwood to Wood. That's so dumb.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, this level of competition isn't the same. I do think Santos is a really good prospect, but I just don't think she's going to be able to take. She maybe takes a round or possibly maybe second. Really doubt it though. But I think it's just going to be Shevchenko stand-up technical win for 5 rounds. And Santos has a pretty good ground game, so I wouldn't expect Shevchenko to like try to take it to the ground or anything. But you know, we saw Amanda Nunes lose earlier, and you know, something should surprise us. But I just don't think it's going to happen this time.
No.
Bum 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 bum. Glover Teixeira versus Jiri Prochazka for the light heavyweight championship. I know this is an interesting fight. We had an old dude versus a newer prospect, at least for the light heavyweight division. Super unique styles to both fighter. And we like Glover, right, Carson?
Yep. We're taking Glover in this one. I like him by submission. Jiri has only had 2 fights in the UFC. And, I mean, they're not the level of ground game that Glover has, so I think he'll exploit that.
And Dominic Reyes took down Jiri like once or twice, I think, so, you know, it's like, it's hard to say exactly what will happen, because we've seen Glover get knocked down before in fights. And, but Glover also makes the fighter he faces usually very nervous about the takedown. And, like, Jan was so scared of getting taken down in their fight. And when it happened, you could just tell
he still got it right away.
Yeah. And, I'm done doubting Glover. It feels like a Charles Oliveira thing where people like deny how good they are until they...
And not many times you get a champion as this big of an underdog.
Yeah, and Jiri... Okay, I listened to a quote from him this week, and it was talking about how he's worked on his biggest weakness, which is his ground game. It's like, yeah, well, you're telling me exactly how the other guy's biggest strength is your biggest weakness? Like, I'm going to pick Glover. Like, I just think as soon as he gets on top, he's got the best, like, top ground and pound, and no one ever, like, just gets up on Glover. I think that he's just, if he gets him down in round 1, he'll put a beating on him. If it goes to round 2, he'll just take him down again, because Jiri will be hurt.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Jiri knocked him out again, but I can't go against Glover for another time, so...
Yeah. I doubted him versus Jan, and he made it look easy, so I'll ride with him now.
Exactly. And I think
it always seems like these light heavyweight fights are always favoriting the older...
The older fighter, you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like Jan would probably knock out Jiri, to be honest. I kind of just had that instinct. Just the Polish power is a little different, but if that fight ever did happen, I just think Jiri just hasn't had enough UFC fights for us to see too much, so.
Right. And I do think he will be champion in the future, but not Saturday.
Yeah, not yet. Sticking with the old man, we're gonna be fucking super fans. And, yeah. Anything else?
We are riding with Glover.
Brazil! Okay, these are our picks for UFC 275. I think we have a decent card. We got a decent, like, main card, but there's a lot of shitty fights, to be honest, on the prelims. But yeah, if you don't like our picks, you know, comment at us and send us some hate, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'll be right back at you.
Comment your best bets for this weekend. We are going with and still ×2.
Uh-huh. Well, I guess... Oh, I was almost going to say ×3, but Zhang's not champ.
Yeah.
And,
She should be, though.
yeah, stay tuned to the Instagram. We're going to put those bets out early. You already know, I think 2 or 3 of them that were placed. And, yeah. Anything else?
Best bets video this week, Wednesday or Thursday?
Yep. Yes, sir. Peace.